Good morning, everyone. Today, our group will be presenting the case Rankin's Garage and Sales versus JJ. This case explores important legal issues such as carelessness, expectations, and whether a business can be held responsible when a stolen vehicle leads to injury. Understanding this case helps us to see how courts determine liability and duty of care in situations involving third parties. Before we begin, let me introduce our team. I am Jasprit Kaur, and joining me today are Harsimran Kaur, Komalpreet Kaur, Navjot Kaur, Anmolpreet Singh, and Diljit Singh. We will walking you through the case details, key legal questions, and the final ruling. Okay, this slide is about introduction in which the case focuses on whether Reckons Garage is liable for JJ's injury due to negligence. The court emphasized forcibility in determining duty of care, stating that while theft was predictable, the specific injury was not. The decision impacts future negligence cases by clarifying the limits of liability related to third party actions. Next slide, my friend Harsimran will explain.
In case background of Rajan Garage JJ incident happened in July 2016 in Ontario, Canada. JJ was 15 years old. JJ was 16 years old. Both are friends. This case went to the Supreme Court of Canada in 2018. This case is about stealing the vehicle. Some important aspects of this case studies mainly focus on business responsibility and negligence of law. JJ and his friends was drinking alcohol and smoking at CC home. They went out with the intention of stealing unlocked car and they found unlocked car with the keys inside at the Rajan garage. Both are teenagers, see who never drive before, who stole the car and drive it. JJ got in that she crashed the car and Gigi suffered brain injury. Gigi family filed a lawsuit against Rajan Raj. The claim is that Rajan Raj failed to secure its vehicles leading to the incident. That's all from my side. Further will be contained by the Komal.
Moving further, my name is Komalpreet Kaur. My student ID is 4394124. Now I am going to present the next slide of legal issues. The legal issue revolve around whether the resting garage on a duty of care to JJ. This involves examining the concept of forcibility and negligence. The court needed to determine if the garage could have anticipated the risk of vehicle theft and the potential harm that could arise from it. In this case, the trial court found Ruskin's garage negligent and the decision was upheld by the Ontario Court of Appeal, which emphasized the business's responsibility to prevent the forcible harm to individuals like JJ. Next to it, there are the lower court ruling. The trial court found Ruskin's carriage negligent. The Ontario Court of Appeal upheld the trial court decision. The court reasoned that the business should foresee theft and the potential harm. The court awarded damages to JJ for the injuries suffered in the crash. The court focused on the business's responsibility in preventing the forcible harm. Proceeding further, there are the Supreme Court ruling 2018. The Supreme Court ruled in 2018 that Ruskin Carriage was not liable for the JJ's injury. The court reasoned that there was no duty of care for the third party criminal actions, while the theft of the vehicles for forcible the injury was not. The court also noted that the duty of care limitations applied only to the direct and expected risk. Finally, the court cited legal precedent that businesses are not automatically responsible for the stolen vehicles. Now, my next team member, Navjot Kaur, is going to proceed further.
Moving to the next slide, my name is Navjot Kaur and today I will present the Supreme Court rationale. In a similar terms, for a business to be held responsible, not only must theft be predictable, but the injury that happens must be predictable. In this case, JJ was hurt because of reckless driving, not for theft. Rankin Garage had never been problem with the stolen vehicle harm before, so the court decided businesses are not automatically responsible for any harm just because theft might be happen. This slide is also about the Supreme Court rationale. The Supreme Court determined that the Rankin Garage was not liable for the minor who stole and crashed a car. The court states that there is no evidence suggesting that the garage should have anticipated such behavior from the minors. They emphasize that the possibility is crucial in establishing negligence, meaning that only thus must have be predictable, but specific injury resulting from it must also be possible. The ruling highlighted that the businesses are not held accountable for every incident unless there is clear negligence on their part. In this case, the court found that the Ranking Garage did not act negligently. They also were not responsible for the minor actions. In this slide, let's talk about the duty of care in law. The slide explains that the duty of care is legal obligation to prevent possible harm. It also explains that the negligence in law it is important to improve the possibility of injury, not just that. The Supreme Court has found that the possibility of theft is not same as the possibility of injury. The slide also states that the businesses are not liable for the third party criminal actions. Finally, it states that the future cases require strong evidence of direct to enforce liability. Now moving to the next slide, my team member will discuss about the implementations for businesses.
As we move ahead to go to the next slide, this case illustrates that the business, like a garage, it isn't automatically responsible for injuries caused by a stolen vehicle. For liability to be established, there must be evidence on the part of the business. This means that if the garage took responsible measure to insure its vehicle, it is unlikely to be held liable for any injuries resulting from the theft. The court emphasizes the importance of negligence cases, indicated that the business must imitate potential risk and act accordingly to prevent harm. Now my next teammate Daljit Singh is going to present further.
Hello, my name is Diljit Singh, ID 4389898, and now I will talk about Q&A sections. So first is, can a business ignore security risks? So no, they should still take up precautions to avoid negligence claims. Second is, would Ranking garage be liable if the car was stolen before? So there is a possibility if the past thefts had led to harm. Third is, does this case apply to all stolen vehicle incidents? So no, each case depend on foreseeability of harm. And the fourth is, would the case be different if the CC had a driving license? So no, because the ruling focused on foreseeability, not the driving license. And the last is, how does this affect businesses with public assets? So they need to be balanced security with a practical business operation. Thanks.
At last, in the case centers on the concept of duty of care and forcibility. Finally, Rankin's garage won because the court found that no duty of care was established. A crucial takeaway is that forcibility must include actual harm, not only the act of its theft itself. This means that a business not be held liable for a theft related incident unless it can be shown that the business was negligent in its effort to prevent the theft. This case sets a significant precedent regarding the limits of liability of business in similar situations. Thank you so much for your time from me and my team.